underground hideaway, from the fortress of solitude to the bustling city room of the Daily Planet. Look, up on the screen, it's Superman. Superman, the movie, rated PG.
The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
You will suffer an eternity for this.
Miss Tessmacher!
my spirit animal in the morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you gonna say about that one, Kevin? Because you've been screaming Miss Tessmacher for a while now.
Oh man, like I feel that, like I hear his voice, the anger in his voice, and the hair stands up on my arms. Like I feel that shit. I love it.
Hey, only Gene Hackman could invoke that kind of emotion. Maybe next to Jack Nicholson as the Batman, but we can get into that very shortly. First off, a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. We're doing Superman the movie from 1978, starring Christopher Reeve, Gene Hackman, and a whole slew of characters. So please hit that like button down below. Hey, we got an interactive chat, so if you got a comment, we might highlight it. We might talk about it. Got a question? Do it there. Also, hit that subscribe button down below and hit that bell notification so you can stay tuned to all of our video content. Now, Kevin, Superman, what is your first experience with this movie?
You know what? This might be the first movie I remember watching, like cognitively. I remember so very vividly this and Wizard of Oz. So this is one of the two most influential movies in my life. Like, well, three if you include Ghostbusters, because Ghostbusters is my favorite movie. But like this gave me my love for cinema. This gave me my love for superhero movies. Like the slogan for the title was "You'll believe a man could fly." And I know I was just a little kid, but holy shit, did I? Like this blew my friggin' mind as a kid.
Yeah, did you yeah, you wouldn't have seen this in theaters. Did you see this on like TV or VHS tape?
It was, I remember seeing it on TV with my grandmother and renting it like all the time as a kid. Loved it. And if it was ever on like HBO, USA, always sit down and watch it.
Yeah, for me, definitely not in theaters. I think it was about like 1 or 2 at the time when this came out. And then after that, I want to say probably TV. Probably, it's hard to say what channel it was on. And I was probably like 5 or 6 when I finally eventually saw it. Because I know the second one, after the second one came out, I think that's when like all my friends and everybody that I knew at that age, that's when we were all starting to catch that. So I'm pretty sure I saw it on TV. I would love to actually see this in like the movie theater. Most recently, I just watched it off of the nice big steel case box set that I got a couple of years ago, and I watched the 4K of it. It looks beautiful. So
I was going to ask, like, because this is one of those movies that you believed the man could fly because the special effects were all right. Like it all worked. You didn't see any wires. It wasn't like when George Reeves would fly where you'd see a flat chest because he was lying on a board and planking.
Right.
You saw none of that. So, but when you get to 4K, as we've seen, like you see a lot of wires carrying spaceships and shit like that in movies now. So I was going to ask, like, how did this look in 4K? Was it really nice?
I thought it looked great. So
that's cool.
Now, don't ask me if you're talking about like specs, like what's the bit rate, this and that and the other. I don't put that on my computer, so I don't really look that up, and I don't hit the info button on my screen. I just judge it based on how does this look on my TV and the setup I have now. And to me, it looked fantastic. I thought it was outstanding. The big question for me is going to be once I get to part 2. Because I have never seen the Donner before, and that's the one I'm going to watch next week.
Oh, interesting. I've never seen it either. Maybe I will too.
I think that's on Max.
I guess I should.
So anybody, if you're looking for where you
Okay.
can watch this, it's on Max. It's on quite a few places. You have to have a subscription to some of these places, or you can just rent it. So there's plenty of options out there, but for most people, it's in your collection already.
So I know we started off screaming Miss Tessmacher, and like that truly is like a core part of my personality. Like when I get mad, that's I invoke that rage that I learned from Lex. But when I was watching the end of the movie tonight, I was somewhere else, so I was trying to watch it on my mobile, and I had my earbuds in, all happy and nice, and I pull up Max on my phone, and it says, "You cannot view Max on so many screens."
Huh.
And I know my wife was watching ER on her tablet. That's one thing.
Right.
And that leaves only one other person. Just one.
Zoe.
Harley!
Harley. I always say Zoe. I throw Zoe under the bus more than anybody else does in your family, probably.
Well, no, that's because usually Zoe deserves it. Like if anyone's making trouble, it's typically Zoe. Like she is mischief, and I love her for it.
Yeah.
But Harley is the part of me that's like, she is the video game nerd. She is the horror film fanatic. So she's always watching like Beetlejuice, or Final Destination, or something on Max. Like never anything fun like Superman or fucking Looney Tunes. It's something horrible and tragic that Darker Dad likes. But yeah, she was. Yeah. Shit she shouldn't be watching that anyway.
Yeah, I know. You share some of that on social media.
Yeah.
Or in private chats. She's staring at a dead body. Daddy, it's a dead body.
And then she rewound it to watch her die again.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
beautiful start to a Superman movie review here, everybody.
Yeah,
well, that's what we do here at 0 Point Reviews. We go off on tangents. So buckle up. This is going to be a wild one.
My son was supposed to watch this with me. Speaking of my daughter,
he did not.
He did not. No, like he was off doing other things, and I felt bad because he wanted to watch it, and I wanted to watch it with him. But I was like, if you're gonna go off in your room, I still got to watch this movie, man.
Oh, that's too bad. But
yeah,
I enjoyed watching this on the screen with the surround sound. It's a hell of a good experience. So they did a pretty good job on that. Now, that being said, unless you have another thought, we can get into the good, the bad, and then we can judge Superman, the movie.
Golly, no, other than instead of using my earbuds or my iPods, I should have used my Sennheisers. That would have been some awesome sound.
That's what I'm saying. Like this first movie works the surround system very well, especially if you have like the Blu-ray or I would say the 4K. But if you have a DVD and you have the appropriate setup going on, that'll work just fine on that too. So I wouldn't be too shocked by that. It's if you're going to watch VHS, you automatically know you're not going to get like 5-point surround sound. That's always going to be like 2.0. 2 speakers, maybe, if you're lucky.
I have the original DVD box set that came out in like 2001, 2000, somewhere around there.
I've never owned it on any format other than VHS. So when I got this was the first time I ever owned these in my collection, actually.
I saw the Best Buy ad for it when I was leaving work, and I was like, oh my God, needed to have it. And I just got snaked because like Best Buy got snaked all the time when they'd get new releases. Like it was just busy. They'd get wiped out. So I didn't want to get snaked for the Superman box set. And I board checked this little old lady to get to it. And I got the last one. And I never felt happier, less guilty in my entire life. Sure, she may have broke a hip, probably died after that, but goddamn, I got my Superman box set.
Hey, you got to make sure you get your sets.
True. It's the Man of Steel.
Oh my God. Well, you mentioned that with Best Buy, and basically I got a box set there once because something was getting pulled off of shelves because it looked too much like a first aid kit. It's for the horror movie series Sleepaway Camp. And I went there the second I heard about it, Early days of internet, everybody. I flew the hell over there like 2000 and something ish, and went into Best Buy. They were not on the shelves; they were on the cart. And I said, "Hey, can I get those?" To the salesperson, because there was only like 3 copies on there. They're like, "No, we actually have to return them back." And then I'm like, "Oh, well, thank you for trying anyway." The second he turned to help another customer, I grabbed him and I went straight to the checkout, and I checked out immediately on the spot and left. I sold 2 of them and
Fuck
made
yeah.
quite a bit of money.
You got all 3.
And I got all 3.
You pirate.
Yep, that's a proud piece of my collection over in the corner there.
Superman
I
would
say
not
I thought
approve.
I put it up here, but I think I moved it somewhere else. But in just to kind of, yeah, I did pay for them and I did get them. But to give proper context, I am going to make the Superman set of a centerpiece of my my mass media collection on the other side of this room. Because soon I'm going to do a room tour, and I think everybody will get a kick out of that. So Kevin did a room tour. We haven't
right
made
here's
it
where I
available
hang
for
myself and
everybody.
jerk off. Oh, that's not even complete. That was 10.5 minutes, and it's not even complete.
Yep. Damn straight.
I still have another side of the shelf.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, I'm beaming now. I've got a lot of movies.
Hey, I got a lot of movies too. I also have a bunch of like fucking toys and things like that. Yeah, you might think I like movies or TV shows or something around here, and ignore the 2 spinner racks to the right behind me. Like, geez. Although I wish I had owned the DVD sets of this at one point, but I never did.
They have a wonderful special feature on the first movie where Margot Kidder was telling this story how they had this metal cup. The cup on Chris Reeves was metal. And she used to walk up to him because he was such a timid person in real life. Like deep down, he was bashful. And she'd go up and go, "Hey, Chris," and go ding, ding on his fucking ding dong.
That's pretty funny.
Every morning. Yeah, she said he would do it to him every morning for like however many weeks or months that they filmed, and like made him blush every morning. And I was like, God, I love that chick.
Hey, make him blush, Kevin.
Make him blush. Even the super ones.
Just like Clark Kent does. No, I mean Superman does. Because everything's super about Superman, if you catch my drift, ladies.
Everything.
Speaking of that, let's get into the good, Kevin.
Yes. Sorry. The good. Again, you will believe a man can fly.
And you will believe that this is a good goddamn movie too at the same time.
Wait. I have to ask, is that sarcasm?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a second. What just happened?
What? You don't want me to do a heel turn on you, Kevin?
I wasn't ready to get kicked through the window. No.
I'm just talking in general. Like, this is considered to be one of the best comic book movie adaptations ever made. And I have a hard time seeing why it's not. And that's not jumping to judgment, because I do have opinions on this movie. But overall, as a movie, it's a good movie. It's incredibly well constructed, very well directed and shot. And the plot moves forward at a pretty brisk pace. Considering it's like a 2 hour and 20-minute movie, it doesn't feel like it. When the credits roll, you're feeling like, damn, it's over already? Shoot. Goddamn, where's the rest of it? Because there are parts of the third act where it feels like something is missing, but we'll get to that later.
Yes. And I think part of the success of that works in the regard that, like a comic book, there were not 1, but 2 prologues to this movie. Yes. And then the movie got going.
Right.
And both of the prologues were well written, well acted, and mixed together very well. Like all 3 of those the first prologue, second prologue, and then the movie itself, like they all mesh together very well, showing going from Superboy to Clark Kent to Superman.
Yep.
It was, or Clark Kent, Superboy. Yeah. Very, very cool. And it worked out. It didn't make it feel too terribly long. There's only one part of this movie that makes it feel long, and I'll get to that later. You already know what I'm going to say.
Oh, his Wang. I know.
Not the Wang, the cheer up. Anyway,
but no. So I think honestly, the writing is pretty well founded. Like almost everybody agrees, the writing's pretty damn good. What I like about this is that they do take their time based on the structure of the movie. About 50 minutes before you actually see Superman being Superman in full outfit and everything. So what Kevin was just describing with a couple of prologues, we start with Krypton, and then we go to Kansas and Smallville, and then we go to him going to basically the North Pole to create the Fortress of Solitude. And then he has a very, very brief spot where 12 years have passed. He has gone back to Krypton and returned on a journey to find the secrets of life, humanity, heart, soul, everything, the limits of his power, what he can and can't do. And he's a full-grown man, and there he is in that picture. And I gotta say, one of the strongest strengths of this movie, yes, I just said that twice in a row, Christopher Reeve stole the show of this movie ahead of actors who are way more famous than he was at the time, and he was a relative unknown, and he basically just stole the movie right back, being, this is my movie. Thank you, Marlon, for showing up drunk, and however else you were feeling that day. And Gene Hackman, thank you for providing a nice foil to me, and you didn't go bald until the end of the goddamn movie. But Christopher Reeve was fan-freaking-tastic, going from Clark to Superman and back and forth. That gave such a nice flip and dichotomy that it really gave his character some real oomph to it. And I really loved that, because he just had this very big date with Lois, and then he comes back around and he's Clark, who's been knocking on the door for God knows how long. And he's in there and he takes the glasses off after being like in Clark Kent mode. The posture sticks up and the eyes open up. The confidence is there. But you also see the his face goes from like totally like loose and like naive and like total farm boy mode to like full on like, I'm going to beat some ass if I don't get some pussy up in here.
He was looking for it, and that was one.
So was she.
Pink. That was one of the most wonderful things about him. Is it was so hard to look at Christopher Reeves and not be like, that's Superman.
Yep,
that's Superman. Like
Jerry curl and everything.
It's just like if you saw a very large man with the white beard, like, shit, that's Santa Claus. You look at Christopher Reeves, you're like, my God, that is Superman. And the way he conducted himself in real life and the way he treated people and just everything about Christopher Reeves, that's Superman.
Yeah, he was very self-critical about his acting, but he was very good. Let's be real here. Like between this and like Superman 2, like how can you start a franchise better? I know they weren't intending to do a franchise, but they shot the two back to back. And I think it turned out pretty damn good. It's when you get to parts 3 through 4 that it gets a little wonky. We'll get to that in, oh God, 2 weeks? Oh God. So we have 2 weeks until we have to start watching Richard Pryor running around with Brainiac. And then Nuclear Man in part 4. But at least in this, we don't have like a totally dedicated villain yet. That's more in the second one. So it does feel like this movie, they're not setting up for the second one. It feels just like a very nice, coherent, confined story, and it stays in its lane. It never diverges out to be like, oh, hey, there might be a Brainiac out there. Oh, hey, there might be a Darkseid out there. There might be Batman out there. There was none of that. This was very nice, singular
But Brainiac
movie.
is in this.
Do tell, because I did not catch that. And I do not pay attention to the lore or what's canon in comic books, because my experience with the comic books is very minimal. But so I didn't catch that, and I don't know behind the scenes or any of that sort of thing.
The computer system that had lied to the Krypton governors, saying that the planet was not in danger.
Okay.
Is Brainiac.
Oh,
Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming from somebody who's actually read the comics.
And I play Lego games. I play a lot of Lego games.
Maybe a couple.
Anyway, that is an interpretation of Brainiac.
Okay.
He of course, and later on in the comics, they evolved that story, grows, but yes, Brainiac was that computer.
And doesn't he like bottle a city of
Kandor?
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't know, it's a Chad question, but I think Supergirl's family might have been in Kandor. I'm not sure.
Okay. That's a good question. Maybe we'll ask him next time we see him.
Yeah.
Or Chad, if you're watching out there,
I was going to
throw
say
it in the chat. Because we are simul-streaming on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube here. And Twitter. All you Twitter peeps, thank you for checking us out. Appreciate it.
Yes. So anyway, what else is like, okay, so we've got the acting was amazing. You mentioned the writing. Let's also mention that was Mario Puzo that wrote the script to this movie somehow.
Yes. I forgot his name was on the credits until I watched it. I'm like, oh, it's Mario. And every time I say Mario, I just want to go, it's me, Mario.
Here we go. How fun though. Like, and I know Warner Brothers was like, call the guy from The Godfather. We're going to sprinkle some money on this shit. And the other part from The Godfather is Richard Donner was having such a hard time getting Marlon Brando out of his trailer. He refused to come out because, as you said, he showed up drunk as a skunk, and he had to call up Coppola and he said, how do you get this guy to act?
This is like the one story I know, but continue.
Yeah. And he told him to go in there, bust in the door, slap him in the face, and throw him out the fucking trailer. And that's what he did.
And he got a good performance out of Marlon Brando by doing that.
Yeah. And he goes out there and gives this like tender father and son speech after getting slapped in the face by Richard Donner.
Richard's probably like fearing for his life after this. Like, I better get my goddamn seeds and get you all out of here in record time. Because I liked how the movie started with Marlon Brando and all the Krypton things. It shows you how Jor-El is actually like a high-ranking like attorney slash he seems like an attorney to me, and helping provide sentence to Zod and his crew, and then they get banished to the Phantom Realm, and then all of a sudden he's still having to deal with the idiots in charge of the government there. Oh, big shock! What else is new? But and they won't listen to him because the computer is, like you said, lied to him, and he's like, our plan's gonna go boom. We need to get out of here. Okay, I'll get my mouth shut and I'll stay here. Me and my wife will stay here. He never vouches for his kid to still stay there. And he gets, he gets Kal-El like on the ship and out of there, which awesome design on that spaceship. I love the crystal spikiness to it and how alien it looked. And by the time it lands on Earth, it's just like just a meteorite.
Right. It all shrivels away.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. But the ship looks much cooler post 1986. Like
yeah, when they actually give it an actual ship design. But I do I do like how it looks.
Oh, sure. Yes. And this kept with the lore of the baby blankets that go with him, and that the suit
Yes.
gets made from the baby blankets. They stretched that a little bit, but it's still his blankets from Krypton go with him. That's part of him, part of his suit, and they keep that in here, and that's really good. They lose that going forward.
Who knew latex could stretch like that?
Spandex was alien technology.
Bulletproof, baby.
Bulletproof spandex. Bang!
Oh God, that reminds me of the first scene where he's with Lois and they get pulled into the alley like to get robbed, and the poor criminal just keeps hauling him around a corner and another corner, and then he's like, "I just want a purse." Then he shoots him, and you see Clark just grab the bullet and then just fall down and act like he fainted. I love the look on his face after he's like, "Bullet," and just tosses it, and it's got this smirk on his face when nobody's looking, like, yeah, that was pretty dope. It's fourth wall breaking without fourth wall breaking. If he had looked at the camera and gave us a wink, that would have been a fourth wall break.
Yes, but that was
There's
just
quite a few
kinda,
times like that in this movie, and I love each and every single one of them.
yeah, and that's a very interesting way to put it. The fourth wall break within the fourth wall break, because he's not directly looking into the camera,
Correct.
but he's having that moment that he knows something that the rest of the world doesn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very singular in this picture, and I love it very much because Batman doesn't do that. Adam West didn't do that. Michael Keaton didn't do that.
None of them did, really.
No. George Reeves would look into the camera. Like he would make a pun like, "Well, Lois, I think he already knows." And like wink into the camera and shit. And you're like, "Yeah, okay. They're ending the show now."
George Reeves.
My favorite, like my favorite old TV series. I love it. But yes.
Mine is Wild Wild West.
Oh yeah, that was dope too, though.
Mhm.
But I like spy stuff. I love it. But like this achieved, like you said, that fourth wall break without being campy, without being cheesy, because the fourth wall break is almost always campy and cheesy.
Yeah.
Almost always.
Just about. It's always some sort of punchline or part of the joke.
Yes.
Without being the punchline itself.
Hopefully not. That's where most people mess it up.
Yeah, I don't want to bring up any of the newer ones because they seem to lack the charm that this movie had. Especially in regards to, just basically Clark Kent and Superman being two different people. And also at the same time being the same person. And so that flip of the coin with them, like you don't really get that. Like that seems to be missing, and the sense of family. And that's something I really like about this movie is like as you're going through the beginning of it, especially with younger Clark Kent. I forgot who that actor was. But like the 18-year-old Clark, just after Pa Kent died, like he was great. He showed like he was conflicted by his powers and what to do, and he knew something was not quite right with himself because he was getting to be anxious and antsy. And at least he found, at least that crystal started going off and got him to go on a little bit of a journey, so to speak, so he could become this person. And I really liked the different characters, the different actors, and how they evolved Clark throughout the beginning of this movie for like basically the first hour.
Yeah. Yeah, where you actually have this emotional investment in who Clark Kent is and who he's going to become. Right. Because he's going to become the Man of Steel, but how does the Man of Steel become that man? And here they more or less show you, except for that 12 years part.
With a real sense of family, and Pa Kent dies by a heart attack, not by a tornado.
Right. Like, don't do something that you could obviously do. Go ahead. Like that loophole was so stupid. Like he could have flown his dad off in any direction and had no one notice him.
He could
At
have
all.
blown fucking air and then caught him on the other side for all that matters.
Yeah, yeah. Or blown out the tornado in another direction.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the few things about that movie. I'm like, I don't like how dark it is, but okay, the movie's got some cool moments. I love Henry as Superman, but
Sure.
quite frankly, I was just like, what are we doing here? You're intentionally creating scenarios where Superman or Clark could actually do something here. And you're just telling him to stand there and let it happen. The whole idea was like, there's some things you cannot control. That was something he could control.
Yeah.
And at least this movie provided the baseline on Clark, Kal-El, you are going to Earth. Do not interfere with human events. Like, do not get involved in human history. You cannot alter human society, yada, yada, yada. We had that hammered like 2 or 3 times throughout the movie until he started to spin the world in reverse. And he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm doing it anyway.
Pussy's involved.
Yeah.
Be
kind. Rewind, everybody.
Everyone goes flying off the face of the earth.
That would have been really fucking funny. Well, I think I went a little too fast. That would have been a Flash move, though.
That would have been dope.
Yeah.
You know, I think the James Gunn movies, or the James Gunn movie, will do better than the Snyder movies because it's going to be more like this. It's going to be brighter. It's going to be more family oriented. It's going to feel more like Superman. They made Superman so OP, so overpowered that you had those loopholes. Like, why didn't he just save his dad? He gets fucked up in these movies because they wrote it better. They didn't make it so OP. They made it more whimsical. Like, he tells Lois, I have a hard time seeing through lead. So now Lex knows he's got a hard time seeing through lead.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just shot yourself in the foot, but that's why you have that issue. You shot yourself in the foot.
And Superman is a very trusting individual. Like, there's some things he's not telling, but I can let slip a couple things. Like, hey, I can't see through lead, but you take five steps back, and I can tell you're wearing pink panties, young lady.
Yeah. So
and
it's
he
like
does, and Clark and Superman like pink panties, everybody. So ladies, better be wearing those when you meet Superman.
He likes pink very much. Yes, he does. But I mean, this movie had a little bit more innocence to it. They didn't overthink things so much, and that made it work better. They say they don't know how to work Superman anymore. Look at this. Make it simpler. Like
you watch like this, if anybody is going to get hired as a writer for a goddamn Superman movie or a director, the first thing I would do is I would go grab, y'all gonna yell at me. Go watch George Reeve Superman. Grab these 2 movies and then watch Dean Cain's Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman.
Yeah.
And if you want, you could still go watch Smallville. You could go watch like the Lois and Superman show that just came out. Most of the TV shows have been really good. And it gives you an idea of like, okay, that's great for TV, but how do we adapt this to film? That's where you accentuate it with, you watch these 2 last. And you go, oh, I see what we need to do with Superman here. We don't have to make him anything. He just has to be himself. You don't have to adapt comic books. It would help if you did, but ultimately it comes down to do the research. You will find out real quick what Superman is and what Clark Kent is as a person. And he's a good guy who's just trying to do the right thing by everybody. He wants to save everybody. He wants to do the best he can to ensure that humanity lives long and can prosper. Yes, I gave you a Star Trek quote, everybody. But that said, this is not rocket science. It's super fucking man, for crying out loud. This is not difficult unless you make it difficult. So I think it can be done. We'll see about James Gunn. I don't want to get too much onto that, But I will say this. James Gunn I do think he understands. The question is can he translate that to the big screen? Because the last couple movies we've had have been a mess. That's not Henry's fault.
No.
And I'm going to make Snyder fans mad. It's Snyder's fault and Warner Brothers Studios' fault for tinkering too much.
Yes. 100%.
They couldn't help themselves.
Well, here's the thing. You don't need to have him having a fucking flat out slobber knocker. You don't need to have him doing that.
Yeah, we don't need an ass beating for like 40 minutes of a movie. Like that is not what he doesn't even do that in this fucking movie or even the next movie. The big battles are like in the middle of Superman 2 and at the end of Superman 2. There's 2 fucking fights.
And that's part of where they overcomplicate Superman.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to make him like speed somebody, outfist somebody, outsmart. I mean, yeah, you have to have him outsmart somebody, but like these movies were more entertaining in a way. Yeah. Like they felt like a better Superman movie than the others did. The others were fun. Yes, at least we got good Ben Batfleck.
Yeah,
but other than that, and Gal Gadot, I liked her too. But other than that, no, like they don't hold a candle to this picture because of the simplicity that it held and how they just wrote Superman interfering with crimes that affect us, not the earth, like crimes that affect us in everyday life, robberies, terrorists, whatever else they had going on in this. The terrorists were in the second one, but and then aliens, like bring on the aliens last.
Yeah,
Superman
because they're the ones who would be equal
first
to
and foremost
him
here to help us.
Yeah.
This movie, the first 2 movies were interesting enough, having him just help humanity out, and then he fought the supervillains at the end of the second movie, and that's okay. But in the newer ones now, he's got to like be beating the shit out of something or somebody like every few minutes, or we're just not having a good action superhero movie. And it's like that's not Superman though, not really.
It's more than just defeating a villain. It's like saving people from other bad situations. Like in this movie, like they basically show him like saving like Lois with the helicopter. Then he's saving another person right after that. Then he's saving like a kitten after that.
Well, like you said, him catching the bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't fucking like speed up and beat that guy or take the gun out of his hand or heat it up with his vision before the guy. No, he just caught it. And the guy ran off, or Lois kicked his ass and the guy ran off.
Yeah.
It worked. The scene worked. It didn't need to be.
I love how that made Lois like a bit of a badass.
And have to tell Clark, quit being a bitch.
Yeah. Come on, Midwest boy. I thought you were strong. I thought you'd do more than that.
And he's totally cool with being emasculated. He's fine with it.
Yeah. What did you think about the rest of the cast, though?
Perfect. Goodness, I don't think there's anybody in this picture that's miscast.
I even like the guy who played Perry.
Yes, he was my favorite Perry, I think. For the longest
Perry
time.
is from Dean Cain's show.
Yeah. Jerry Smith, or excuse me, Lane Smith is the perfect Perry White. I loved him. The gentleman from George Reeves gave us Great Caesar's Ghost. Lane Smith gave us Great Shades of Elvis, which was fucking awesome.
Super fun. Love that. Wearing Elvis jackets and always talking about Elvis. It's like, yep, he's that kind of guy. Cheats at cards.
Yeah, right. And then now I'm gonna have to turn around and go watch friggin' Son-in-Law adding up Lois and Clark. So, because he's the dad in that.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Yeah, he's a dick in that movie.
Yeah, I like all the cast on this too. I didn't really have any issues with any of that. The only other thing I would say is like this movie gave us the iconic theme song that echoes for generations upon generations. You
know,
hear it within like 2 seconds. That's the Superman theme. It's iconic as Star Wars. It's iconic as Indiana Jones, if not more so.
yes. And it's funny because everyone kind of like went, ooh, when Danny Elfman made the comment when he redid the Batman suite for the Flash movie. And some interviewer made a comment about his rendition of this new Batman theme. And Danny like gets very serious and looks right at the at the reporter and goes, "There's only one Batman theme." And I'm like, "Oh, snap. All right then." And he's trying to say, but
your mic is getting a little glitchy, Kevin.
Oh, sorry. The original Neil Nefertiti, the original composer of the Batman theme from '66, he might have something to say about that. But John Williams wrote the Superman theme. Like,
yes,
there have been suites and themes to Superman, but they have all had John Williams' score in it. It's folly to not. Man of Steel did not, and it was folly.
All right. Superman Returns tried.
They did okay. They did okay for it.
Bryan Singer's Superman Returns, everybody.
Which was really this movie 2.0. Well, not even 2.0. Like, it's the same plot. It's the very same plot. Like, Lex wants to fucking make an extra part of
real estate development.
Yeah, and except now he's like pining after Lois and creeping after her, and she had his kid, and goodness, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, there were some choices in Superman Returns.
Yeah. But the special effects and the casting were all fairly pretty good.
Yeah, I would agree. And I would say that all goes back to like this movie. Without this movie, we wouldn't have like Batman, we wouldn't have more Superman, we wouldn't. Our comic book industry as movies would not be where it is without this movie being a success. And this knocked it out of the park. Yes, we had like Incredible Hulk on the TV shows, but none of those made it to movies. It was Superman that launched everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was the comic book Mickey Mouse. Like, if anything was going to be Superman. Spider-Man wasn't going to make it yet.
Yeah.
Nothing Marvel had was going to make it yet. Captain America wasn't going to make it yet. His movie had only been...
They certainly tried.
Yeah. You know, the Captain America movies were made for TV, and they were what they were. It didn't have this budget. But you know what? Marvel didn't fucking license their shit out to anybody with any real vision other than fucking Howard the Duck. And that vision was kind of... So...
Well, you could thank George Lucas for doing that one anyway. What's that?
Not everyone. I said I liked Howard the Duck.
It was fine. Jeffrey Jones.
Yes, he was scary.
Just like in real life.
Yeah, I was going to say before I knew all that shit.
Yeah, right. Now, that being said, Kevin, anything else about the good, or should we get into a little bit of the bad?
I think bad. We got to get the bad. It needs to be said. There are bad moments to this picture.
Yeah.
This isn't one of them. I just used this image because it's bad guys.
Correct. I mean, yeah. I was gonna say I know this isn't.
This scene's classic where he like snatches the wig off.
I'm the criminal mind of a generation. I just want you to know that.
And it's so off-putting to see, but like, you've been upset the entire time that he's not bald, but right. He looks so good in all the different hair pieces he's got on that when you do see him bald, you're shit, that's so weird now.
Yeah, they kept teasing that through the movie. It was super funny. Like, hey, why is there a bunch of man wigs right there?
Because I want to say Lex was only bald or made bald because there was an actor in a TV serial that was bald that played him, and it just kind of it stuck from the 50s on.
Because I know John Shea in the Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, he mostly had his hair for a while in season 1. I think he kept his hair.
I was going to say, I thought he kept it. Like, because I know we'll talk about that tomorrow. That was off-putting me as a kid, but gosh, he was so evil that you're like, okay, yes, keep the hair. Keep the hair.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The bad.
But, so the bad for me in this is with that runtime that you mentioned, there is one scene that just drags on incredibly way too long. And for me, that scene is where he takes Lois flying after the interview, and she's talking to herself in her mind and can't read her, which of course can't. The entire scene is moot, other than the fact that she's having this romantic interlude with herself.
Yep.
And it just slows the movie to a fucking crawl, an absolute crawl. Is it beautiful? Yes. Like, is it making the point that they're flying and that you're seeing this amazing special effects spectacle? Yes, but it just really slowed the movie down for me to an absolute crawl.
I can see that, and I felt a little bit of the same way. Like, they could have trimmed that scene down significantly, but I understand what they were trying to do. They're trying to show like the emotional attachment between the two, so that, you know, when the earthquake hits and she dies, that it actually provides an impact on him. Like, she has such a play on his heart and he has such a play on her heart, so that when she dies, he's fully snapping, like, I finally found somebody that I see on my level that I could maybe give my heart to. Okay, let's spin the earth around in reverse and fix this. So, but I do agree, they could have made a couple more edits. And to that same kind of thought, on the flip side, there were some things that were happening in the third act that I'm like, how are we going from point A to point C? I feel like we missed something. And clearly it's from like edits in the edit bay, because there's just conversations that seem to just jump and all of a sudden, hey, we're right back to it. And, you know, what's going on here? Like, they got issues with some time continuity, like going back in time to stop this, and you're still not doing 7 other things. Like, what's really going on? Like, nobody really thought through on the time travel kind of aspect of this. But so there's some like little plot issues I have. But you talk about scenes that could be shorter. I'm talking also like scenes that could have been expanded upon, especially like Miss Testmacher. Why is she all of a sudden, oh, her mom's in Jersey and she might get blown up? That's the only thing? Like, come on. I mean, I know Lex was being mean to her throughout the movie, but that wouldn't have been enough to get her to switch. Would have had a little bit more conflict between the two. And then, like, God, there was something at the end. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Well, she just disappears. Well, I mean, Superman told her, you better not be here. You better not stay here. Which was totally true. Lex probably would have killed her at that moment, just out of rage. But there's that moment that could have been a lot more with him. It would have been a kid. As a kid, I had a problem of, if it's Clark, I'm bored. If it's Superman, I'm having a great time. Some amazing things are about to happen.
Yeah,
that is not the case with this movie. There's plenty entertaining with and without the suit on. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more as Superman. But how much longer could you made this film?
Well, that's why I think they ultimately did the second one. Was like, everybody's gonna get way more Superman in the second one after we've established this whole world and told the story of Kal-El and Clark Kent, and like Lex Luthor, Lois Lane, Perry White. everybody is now familiar with the second movie. We're just going to keep on moving like nothing's changed.
Yeah.
So, like, we're not going to hesitate. We're not going to have a jump. We're not going to have a cliffhanger. We're just going to pick the movie up right where this leaves off. As it's telling, like, it almost feels like the first two movies are like Superman, the movie is Act 1, Superman Part 2 is Act 2, and then we never get Act 3. I'm just saying, dude.
Don't you mean
how
Superman
it feels with the
Returns?
third and the fourth one to me is like, it feels like those were supposed to be like the Act 3, maybe Act 4 of this kind of story that they've set up in world. But they completely go in fucking random directions and get completely fucking cheesy as hell. You don't get any cheese. You can find some cheese in this, but it's not intentionally cheesy at all.
No, the only cheese in this, like, really is just Otis being Otis.
Yes.
And he's supposed to be that laughable, kickable sidekick or henchman. Like, that's his character's purpose. That's why they hired Ned Beatty, because who else could fucking do that better than him? Like,
Right.
God damn, he was brilliant as Otis. Him fucking writing Otisburg down on the ground. I think I fucking have that here somewhere.
That, while you're looking that up, I also liked when he was writing the coordinates down on his arm and he was a little off with his writing because his arm wasn't long enough. I'm like, dude, that is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard. And right next to Lutherville is Otisburg.
Otisburg. It's a real tiny place.
Marina del Lex. Lex Springs. Costa del Lex.
Whoops. How did that get in there?
Ooh, Miss Tessmacher, baby.
My bad.
I would have liked her to have more of a role, to be honest.
Yes, she was.
That would be another knock from me on the bat. Is like, I would have liked to see her a little more because Otis had a good role. She felt more of like the third wheel out of that batch.
And she doesn't have a big role at all in the second one, does she? Her and Otis both get shit canned.
Yeah, is the second one where the nephew shows up? And that's
no, that's part 4.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, please don't let that be the second one, because my memory is, it's been a long time since I've seen these movies, everybody. So bear with me on that.
We'll talk about it more, I'm sure, but how crazy is it that the worst fucking character in Superman 4 grows up to become one of the better Lex Luthors?
Yeah. Just saying.
The world we live in today.
Yeah, no kidding.
Which I didn't watch a whole lot of Supergirl, but I did see his Lex Luthor rendition. And
yeah.
God damn, he was good. He was really good.
Yeah, whenever they've done a lot of the castings for some of these, they've always seemed to find the right path. Now, I won't say like Mr. Eisenberg was all that great in Batman v Superman, but didn't really like that idea of Lex, and I hope Nicholas Hoult does a good job.
I think
Gene Hackman did fantastic. He wasn't as menacing as I would have liked in this movie, but this is a movie from when we were kids. I mean, yes. They were keeping it a little limited as far as how nasty Lex could get.
But I would love how Superman tells you that he's twisted and demented and evil and just like makes up all these words. So you know that he's just a rotten son of a bitch. Yeah. Yep. He's sick and twisted. And he's just got this, Gene's got this smile on his face like, yeah, I know. Yeah. I appreciate you appreciating me.
God, what a pro. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have anything bad on Gene Hackman to say other than I would have liked him to have been a little bit meaner. And that's just being nitpicky. That's not an actual complaint on the movie itself.
Yes.
This was PG rated. I mean, what do you want? Like PG-13 R-rated Superman here? Like, you'd have to have Lex going completely crazy.
Yeah, having like gone and killed Miss Tessmacher or something like that. Shot her.
Yeah.
At a rage on camera. then he
As
would
it
have
is,
been
he's
like,
psychotic. He's sending his missile to blow California off and give coastal land property to Nevada and Texas.
would you
Hey, that's
miss
still
it?
not a bad idea. I'm just saying.
It's not. It's not. God's got the plan in general. Like he's just doing it slow. It's a
Yep.
slow game.
He plays the long game.
Yeah. Yep. Like San Francisco is moving like northeast so many inches every so many years. So it's like it's gonna happen. Anyway,
Gotta go to Otisburg.
Otisburg. It'll be someplace that in between Nevada.
What's funny is I forgot about that scene, and when that came up again, I just about died laughing watching that. I was like,
Oh.
Otisburg? And I was like, Christ almighty, dude.
That's my favorite scene in this movie.
Yeah.
Like as an adult,
so
that's
random.
my favorite scene.
Yeah. You would think things like that would take you out of the movie. They actually they pull you more into the movie.
Absolutely. It seems like something that was ad-libbed. I'm sure it most certainly was not, but like it seems like a prank, and Hackman just kind of rolled with it as he would Lex Luthor would. And
Ned too, yeah.
And it was just so perfect. Like he's just sitting there staring at him without blinking and just repeats, Otisburg. Like, you stupid tit.
Back then I would believe that there was a little more room for like character interpretation from the actors, and I think that played very well to the movie, and it also probably played very well off of each other, like between Hackman and like Reeve and Christopher. Like, Jesus, dude, like they had a great, I'm like, more of this, please.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that we didn't get another film with the two of them together, because I don't know.
One-on-one, like in the second one he's surrounded by goons from like Krypton, so
yeah, but I mean Lex could be free, have a plan. Gosh, I don't know.
We tried that in the fourth one, but his big idea is, hey, I'm going to create Nuclear Man.
Yeah, but the fourth one was just, there was no quality control there.
There was no quality control after the second one.
No. There was no quality control in between making the second one. They fired the goddamn director.
God, they shouldn't have fired Donner. No reason for it.
No, he's one of the best goddamn action directors of our fucking time.
And he had his finger on what made Superman work. Like, Christ almighty, he knew how to shoot the thing. He knew how to pull performances out of people. And he could put a fucking movie together like nobody else could. Who else could have fucking put together Superman? Fucking Richard Donner did. So people can fuck off whenever I hear, oh, Richard Donner's not that great. Get the fuck out of here. I don't want you here if you're going to be like that.
Eat me. We don't say things like that.
Yeah.
Donner's a dream.
Donner's fine. Like, what they did to him we'll get into that next week. But
yeah,
for what he did on this one, damn, this is great. Now, got anything else that you were a little iffy on with this movie?
No. I absolutely adore this picture, and I get weepy every time I see Christopher Reeve in the suit. Anytime I hear the theme song, I get the nostalgia vapors. Like, I love this picture.
Yeah, this was fantastic to watch again. It made me absolutely glad I bought that nice little set. Next week I'll actually bring that down and I'll show it on here. But I think we could maybe hit the judgment, Kevin, because the only thing I got for bad is just nitpicky stuff.
Yeah, and my only nitpick is, can you read my mind? No.
Oh, God.
Why are you just staring at me? It's fucking weird.
Hey, what can he do? Maybe he can read minds.
Can you take my bean with your mind?
That'd be a pretty interesting talent, Kevin. If you were Superman, what would your favorite power be?
Oh God, probably the flight. Flight or the voyeurism. Voyeurism's cool. I mean, X-ray.
I was gonna say not the X-ray eyes.
Titty.
I was actually going to say flight or the heat vision.
Yes, because I like to heat my coffee up too.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm getting into tomorrow already.
I know. I'm like, I intentionally was like, I'll play this in like the background so I can like keep this like before we came on. I had a little bit, so I'd be like a little more focused on this movie rather than binging through Lois and Clark.
I didn't play golf so I could finish everything today, and then I still didn't finish it. I'm like, I'll finish Lois and Clark tomorrow. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, and Idaho Mike flying. Fuck traffic.
Fuck traffic. For reals. Fuck traffic.
Totally.
Fuck people in your way. I hate that more than I hate traffic. Like
heat vision would blow them the hell out of the water too. Just saying.
Yeah. Or turn people.
Or the 4-scale winds from the mouth. You know, everybody just move, bitch. Get out the way. Get out the way.
So dig this. What was it? 7.4, I think IMDb gave it. Some ridiculous fucking low number.
I'm going to check CRTICILESS on this. Shout out to Blaine over at CRTICILESS.com. That's a nice little critic place to go check things out at.
7.4. Golly, that seems awfully low for this movie. This is a fun time. Like, barring anything pre-MCU, you're not going to find a better superhero movie outside of Batman 89. Like, this is pretty much... now I've got to check Man of Steel because 7.4 seems really low.
On CRTICILESS, it gets 90%.
Thank you. Man of Steel got 7.1.
Based on some of these ratings, I'm seeing the only thing some people say is some things are a little dated, some things are not. Hey, if you're upset that Lois is smoking Marlboros, hey, totally get it. She should be smoking menthols.
Ha! Marlboro didn't make menthols until the late 80s. I get it.
I know. I'm just making a
joke. It's green. She can't smoke green. It's kryptonite.
Yep.
Fuck. Now I want a menthol. And I haven't smoked no more.
I haven't smoked in a very long time.
I don't know, but I'm going to have to go see if there's fucking mint-flavored weed, and I know there is. But anyway. But
7.4 on IMDb, huh?
Yeah, that's fucking weird. I wonder if that's Snyder people like bombing it because they can.
Could be.
I don't know.
Oh, it's old. The special effects are terrible. I can already hear it. But not enough slow-mo, not enough lens flare. Like, fuck that shit.
Balls.
Superman does not need that.
This is at least 8.1. At least 8.1.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to give it a better score than that, but Christ almighty. Let's see. Superman 2. Nothing on the Donner cut. Let's take a look real quick on the other one. Just, that's a little bit better rate. Oh, that's actually 78% for Superman 2 theatrical cut. But that's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. Next week.
Oh yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, I am too. I love General Zod. And
I'm totally in a Superman mode anyway, so I'm having a good time with watching this movie and then watching the TV show. I'm a happy boy.
It's been a fun binge at work. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yes, this movie.
What are you going to judge this, Kevin?
I'm going to judge this at least a 9. This is a 9. Like it's got that one slog of a scene the rest of the time. I love this movie. The only problem that's there's no Blu-ray that has part 1 and 2 put into the same movie back to back, but they haven't done that with Kill Bill either. Yeah, I always wanted that for this movie and Kill Bill. Like that would be just like the perfect mesh.
Well, it's like a seamless like transition between the two movies. So
yeah,
without a cliffhanger. Yes, it can be done, people.
You know, I know that there were kids that believed that George Reeves was literally Superman and that a kid almost really did shoot him. But gosh, you knew Christopher Reeve was Christopher Reeve. He was an actor. He was in other pictures. You saw him do other things. George Reeves, you didn't get to see do other things necessarily because he got typecast. No one else wanted to cast him in movies. But this, even though you knew Christopher Reeves was a man, God, you felt like he really was the Man of Steel. He really embodied Superman, and you will love him more than any other Superman, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like you at home, like, have you not seen any other Superman picture? Like, this is the guy that brings it home.
Yeah. You got the right build. 6'4", 225 pounds, pure muscle.
More or
It's going to
less.
show you sexy ladies what a real man looks like.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't smoke.
But,
At least not that
wait,
he's
he
checked.
does have a drink, but he's like, not when I'm flying, though.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we got it. We got to keep it safe for the kids. I don't drink don't drink while I fly.
I'll save a cat from a tree, but I won't drink a beer, even though it won't even do anything to me.
That one's a tax write-off.
Yeah. Instead of milk and cookies for Santa, get Superman a bottle of Jack.
That's
go.
right. Oh, that's in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ. Now, this is a very good movie. Very well written, very well directed. Incredible shooting, great cinematography, great music. I don't have too much bad to say about it. I do feel a little bit the third act struggles. I do feel like there's some issues with like hey, let's spin this in reverse and undo things, and things don't exactly like jive quite right. But I'm willing to overlook it because the rest of the movie is very good. But all that said, I'm going to give this a 9, and I'm proud to have this in my collection. I'm going to try and get around to watching this a little more often.
Yeah. And I am going to watch it again with my boy.
You going to make him watch it this time?
Yeah. Yeah. At least the scenes where he's dressed up as Superman, because, it's boring otherwise.
Should have like the Superman cut where he's suddenly Superman and all he gets is like Superman scenes.
Hell yeah. I'd watch the fuck out of that.
I think everybody else would. 2 weeks? Let's see. I wonder what you're asking about with that one.
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks is Superman 3, and then it's going to be Superman 4.
Yep.
So next week, 2, 3, 4, going the next few weeks.
And in part 3, he has himself a big sturdy drink.
I thought that was part 4 when he gets drunk with Nuclear Man.
Was it?
I think that's part 4.
Oh, I thought it was 3 where he gets sick from the kryptonite.
Huh.
I guess I'm wrong. Huh. All right then.
Yeah. Well, that's okay too.
That's why we're rewatching them.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, hey, we could both be wrong. Oh, no birthdays right now.
No, mine's in 30 days. No,
yep.
26 days. Yeah.
And mine's back in October. So.
Yeah.
But you got any other final thoughts before we sign off and say goodbye to everybody?
Oh, look up.
You will believe a man can fly.
Yeah. Yeah. This shit's great. I love Superman. Not like Batman, but I love Superman.
Yeah, this makes you think like there is a place for Superman, and there is a place for this character. And Christopher Reeve absolutely delivered on all fronts. Richard Donner, they all gave us an amazing movie that launched a very big industry within film, or genre. I'm sorry, and I can't thank him enough for that. And I'm super excited to get into Superman 2. And I'm watching the Donner cut, so hopefully you're able to watch that too.
Yeah, I should be able to. I'm surprised I don't actually own that. I never bought it.
I bet you could get that separately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know they have it at my video store here.
All right. Well, I'm going to get ready for that too. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. And also subscribe down below. We greatly appreciate it. We are over 7,000 and we are working towards 8 now. So come on and join us. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you get notified when we go live or when we have our videos drop. We are also monetized. So if you care to join us on our membership side, we do have member only streams, and we are working on some more rewards in that regard. So check it out. Check us out. We'll see you all next time.
From a doomed planet in a distant galaxy to a fantastic underground hideaway, from the fortress of solitude to the bustling city room of the Daily Planet. Look, up on the screen, it's Superman. Superman, the movie, rated PG.